under the glass of a frozen sea. A secret stirs where no eyes can see, like whispers trapped in a crystal tomb. Europa hums its ancient tune. I think of us stuck buried deep, a lake that dreams but cannot sleep. What waits below? What breeze? What hides in the heart of ice, where time collides? Signals flash like ghostly flares, answers tangled in cold threads. Beneath the ice of Europa, life seems soft like a distant nova. Are they monsters or are they kin? Do they fear us or let us in? Beneath the ice of Europa, life seems soft like a distant nova. Are they monsters or are they kin? Do they fear us or let us in? Wheels pierce down, machines hum low, to touch the past, to learn to know. A glimmer, a movement, a fleeting trace, a trembling hand, a foreign I think of explorers long ago who chipped at secrets locked in snow. They found life where none should be, a mirror of us beneath the sea.
Hey guys, welcome to Sky Tour Livestream. It is I, Marc Dantonio, your I guess your guide to the stars. I'm an astronomer. For you first timers, this is kind of what we look like. And we're going to be exploring some of the night sky. And the night sky we're looking at is out right now. This is in Benson, Arizona. The telescope is right there over my head. You can see it. This is one of the views here of the telescope. Okay, and right there. And this is the other. Oh, what's it going up there? Oh, look at that. It all moved. Okay, let me move that back. Looks like we got a glitch there. That shouldn't have done that. So let's just bring it all down a little bit. There we are. A little better, like it's supposed to be. Oh, there we go. Okay, so what we did is I started up everything, got it all ready for you, so we can actually move forward. Now, if any of you have any questions, you notice in the chat here, I'm watching the chat. I'm only doing 8 things at once, so I should be able to see the chat too. But if I don't get to your question right away, please put it in. And this time, you're allowed all caps. If you want to put it all in caps, I'll see that easier. Now, here's the layout of the tech that I'm using right now. This screen here is a big curved screen, and that is my feed directly from the observatory 2,600 miles away. This side here, all right, is the broadcast screen. The camera's right here looking at the observatory feed. So you're kind of, when I look at this feed, I'm kind of looking at you too. All right, but it's the same thing. You'll notice that there's some movement in here. This is a star cluster I got on right now because I have something secret in here I want to show you. But this is a tremendous location. I'll give you an idea where we're looking. Okay, and I can annotate everything in our view. And so we're looking at a cluster called Messier 46. In the 1700s, Charles Messier cataloged well over 100 objects that he wanted to remove from interest, if you can imagine that. And this cluster is one of them, because he was looking for comets, and he didn't care about star clusters and nebulae and galaxies. He wanted star clusters. It's like, this makes you go crazy, okay? But it turned out that these Messier objects, Messier, Charles Messier had cataloged, turned out to be among the most amazing objects to study, and this cluster is no different. And this is our starting point tonight. Okay, Messier 46. All right. Now, I will get rid of this annotation for just now. But what I want to show you, I'm going to move this back into the view a little bit more. All right. Here we are. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a picture of all this. Now, first, before we do any of this, I do want to say hi to folks that are here. Dizzy Lizzy, how you doing? And we have B in the Shadows. Oh, there goes the satellite. You see that just go through? Hi, B. Tony Lowe, great. Nice to see you. Lori at LDP, nice to see you as well. Mayhem, hello, Mayhem. Hello, Cornucopia. And Donald Kunzer, CND Boy, that's Bob. He's a great guy. And so was Donald. And Jamie, hey, nice to see you, Jamie. I met Jamie out at Arkansas. In Arkansas, it was great. It was really cool. And we have Norge Ancestry, nice to see you again. Curtis Horn, what's up, brother? And we have a Sam S. was with us. And let's see, JSCO 773. The number, I don't know where the number comes from. I didn't do that. That's just weird. Okay. And then we have Dean Bostador. Nice to see you. Robert Berry was with us. Nice to see you, Bob. And Karen Belmont, of course. I've known Karen for many years. She's a great person. And then Charisse in Dallas. How you doing? New subscriber. That is so nice, Charisse. You know what? I love it. I'm glad you guys subscribe. And you can join the Patreon for free. Okay, you don't have to pay anything if you don't want to. There's a free option as well. And we're doing this thing. If you decide to upgrade from the free Patreon to the paid, we're gonna send you some swag from SkyTour. And for the people that are already in there, we're gonna figure something out for you too. Hello from Kansas to Janine. How you doing? Janine De Lauder. Oh, nice to see you. And so it's cool. And Tim F is with us, of course. Tim F. And look at Alicia Vieras. That's our wonderful Texas person. Okay, she's a sweetheart, and her daughter Darlene is a really cool kid. And you meet all these people many times, and it's just so cool. Okay, so if I missed anybody, I will certainly. Oh, I missed AK. How you doing, AK? From Montana. Nice. Yeah, if you're a first-time subscriber, Mr. Django, that's Steven in Belgium. Nice to see you. If you guys joined us for the first time, please tell me where you're from, because I think that's really cool. It helps me figure out demographics. It also helps me figure out how fast I have to move in case you have to go to work or other things. If you're here, early in the morning overseas or something, like Steven Smet, who's in Belgium. That's Mr. Django, who's a great astrophotographer in his own right, by the way. He's a cool guy. I'm gonna do a photo here. First thing I'm gonna do actually is I'm going to do this. Now, this is a cluster of stars. Now, the focus isn't perfect yet. I'm going to do that in just a sec. But I want you to notice there's a fuzzy thing right here. That's our target for tonight. Now, what I'll do first is I'm going to bring up our guiding system, and I'm going to grab... Well, actually, I'm going to go a little... I'm going to go to 1 second. Now that it's darker out, I can do it. Earlier tonight when I was just setting this up, I couldn't. But let's actually find a star, and I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to do 3 stars. See, there's a little wind. That's what you're seeing there. Okay, and then I'll set up a star for guiding. And let's bring this up a little brighter. Okay, and let's grab a star. Okay, I don't like that, but I do like this. So we're going to grab that star right there. All right, and now this is going to guide on that star for us. So now it won't guide well with the wind, unfortunately, but we'll be able to... The wind will calm down. It usually does. Right after sunset, which is now, you'll see the wind kind of buffet the telescope a little bit, but then it goes away, and that's all good. Okay, so let's do this. Let's now go in here and let's do a focus run. That's what I want to do. So I'm going to modify our focus a little bit. Okay, so now you can see it's vastly out of focus. I'm going to come back just a bit and get that focus smaller, because if I get the focus, the out of focus amount smaller, it will more quickly do what it has to do. Right now, I can't really see stars for the guider right now because they're out of focus. So I'm going to just stop for now on the guiding. Right? And let's do this. Okay, and let's move this down a bit. By the way, this is a research telescope out in Benson that we are using, and now I can do this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a focus run, and you can see it's caught some stars there. And now we're going to do a run in one particular direction with the focuser, and we're going to make a curve down here in that spot right here. And this curve will be curved, and at the bottom of that curve will be the best focus point. Okay, you can see that we're almost kind of there. And once we do that, we will be able to set our focus, and it should automatically be done. So that's the only thing I didn't get to do before you guys came in. Alicia asked, does the monsoon season affect Benson much? Oh, sure, it affects all of Arizona. And so the bottom line is, though, if we're lucky, we'll get some beautiful summer skies, even though that happens, you know? Curtis Horn says, block stars like the old days of EAA. Yeah, LOL. Yeah. EAA is electronically assisted astronomy, effectively, and that's kind of what we're doing now. This is an EAA setup. Joseph Gabori, how are you? He says, hope you're well. Where are some good spots to really see the sky in Connecticut? I'm also in Connecticut. Ridiculous light pollution indeed. All right. Okay, this, obviously, the wind is causing this to fail, so I'm going to bring us back. I'm going to stop it and bring us back and do it again. Yeah, I go positive now. One thing about the stars, when they go out of focus, you can see their colors better, which is really cool. And I really like making the stars sometimes out of focus so you can see their colors. On a windy night, it's kind of hard, you know, because they're always moving around. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I'm going to do one more I want to show you this. This is really cool. Oh, that looks pretty good. That's really good. Okay, so we're gonna move this over again, and oh, no wonder it's not doing it. I'm on lunar tracking. I'm gonna go on stellar tracking. Now we're tracking the stars right. Okay. All right. So now this is a cluster of stars. Now the stars in a cluster are generally younger stars. Okay, they tend to be young. They form in clusters. There's gas and dust in there. The gas makes the stars, and the dust gets either blown away or included in a nebula that's part of the star cluster when it comes forth. And I will show you some of that, and you'll get to see exactly what that is in just a moment. Okay, a few minutes, I should say. We're going to go to another place where you'll see that dark sky nebula. Oh, it's beautiful. We also have an all-sky cam that we're borrowing. I actually use this all-sky cam here. It's mounted on the building. Okay, and you can see the stars. Ours, I hate to say it, our camera is so much better, and we're going to be installing our all-sky cam out here pretty soon. And I'm going out there the first week of May, which is actually coming up, and I'm going to be working on this very observatory to improve and do more. So let's go in and grab a star. Let's do this now. The new one will give us this. Let's move this up a little bit. We got plenty of stars here now, so I'm gonna select a star for guiding. Perfect. And now you notice this point. This is great. We want to see a nice peak like this. A sharp peak means that we're going to get good guiding here. The only time we won't get good guiding is if we get what you just saw, which is wind. So we're going to try it. We're going to give it a shot because I want you to see this thing right here, that fuzzy thing right there, because that is a star that is very special. And let's do a 20 second shot. We don't need to go 25. I'm at 100. I'm going to increase this to 150. What is that? That's actually a sensitivity of our sensor. So when we take photos, it's already doing 20 seconds and it's not coming out well, but that's okay. When we take our photos, okay, and I'll show you because I want you to see this, okay. Yeah, there you go. Now you can see that thing. Look at that. Okay, I'll tell you what that is in just a minute. Okay, but let's come over here. See, over here is our exposure. That's how long we're actually taking the image, right? But then down here, okay, this is the gain. The gain is how sensitive we make the sensor, and right now we're set to 150. Okay, and now so you trade off on gain versus exposure, and the reason you do that is because we want to be able to find that right happy medium. So when we actually do this, when we actually create our image, we have a combination of noise from the sensitivity of the sensor versus exposure. And right now, with wind in here, this may be tougher. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this a 15-second exposure. Okay, and then what we're going to do is the next thing that we do all the time, which is a live stack. Now, what this means is we're going to take an image, all right, and then it gets saved, and we're going to take a second image, align it with the first, star to star, and then put it right on top of that one. And then we're going to do that over and over and over and make an image sandwich. And when we make the image sandwich, okay, and I can see that we already had wind in this exposure. Oh, no, we didn't. Okay, so we have right now, you can see right down there, right where my cursor is, one exposure, okay? And when you see the second one come in, it's already sharper and more detailed. See that? And when the third one comes in, it's going to be sharper still. And every time you double your amount of exposures, you cut the noise, the digital noise, in half. And that is rough rule of thumb. And it's really cool. So this is neat, and it's a thing that we like to do because it gives us the best possible result. Now let's talk about what we're looking at here. Now again, I've studied these things rather extensively. Okay, and so what we're looking at right here is this greenish donut around the star. You know, Gary here, Pop Culture Minefield. Nice to see you, Gary. Nice to join us. Thank you. Nice to see you. And Gary Blevins, hey brother, how you doing? He's from Lyman Lake in Arizona. I know exactly where that is. And Gary's a longtime viewer. You know, Kathy Messick's with us. Hi, Kathy. Thank you so much, Gary. And this right here is the result of a star that has died. Now, here's how that works, and we're going to zoom in to show you. Okay, when you have a star cluster like this, as I mentioned, these are young, hot stars. But notice I said young. So how could you have a star that died in a cluster of hot, young stars? In astronomy, we can't. We don't see how that's possible. However, what we do know is that it's a 3D universe. So if we back out of here, okay, and look at this again, right? This here is the nebula created by that star right there. I should have stayed in there. I'm sorry. Okay, all right. This star right here, that is a white dwarf. It's the end state of a star like our sun. And when our sun uses up all its hydrogen, it's going to swell effectively into a red giant star, and then it's going to pulsate and puff off its outer layers. And that's just what we're seeing here. This star has puffed off its outer layers, and it's showing, it's illuminated because the hot white dwarf here is, let me see if I can color correct this a little better. Okay, notice how this looks a little bluer than it's hard to see, but it is. It's bluer because it's much hotter, and it's got a lot of ultraviolet radiation, which is going out into the gas, which is here surrounding it. This used to be the envelope of the star, the stuff that makes up the envelope. The core is a 15 to 20% the size of any star typically. So everything in our sun, for instance, it's a little 15 to 20% central point that's actually doing all the fusion. All right, and the thing is, when our star, when you look at our star, it's big. It's a half a degree of size in the sky, but only 20% of that, say, or 15%, is actually doing the fusion. All the rest, all to the outside, is just along for the ride. It's hydrogen and other elements that the star was made with that are now showing off the internals of the star. It shows the plasma. Okay, and it is plasma. So this particular star right here is so hot with ultraviolet energy that the dust, well, the gas mostly actually, that's around it, that was along for the ride when this star was made, is now actually being ionized by this hot star. What does that mean? It means that the atoms of gas out here, you'll notice there's some red and there's some greenish blue teal color. The atoms in the outside of the star's former envelope here, the hot white dwarf is actually causing the electrons to jump off these atoms. In the case of the bluish green stuff, it's oxygen, and two electrons are actually jumping off the atom, and when they recombine, they give off the energy that they absorb to leave the atom. And when they give off that energy, it tends to be a characteristic set of colors that dominate. And in the case of oxygen, it's that teal blue color. Okay, around the outside you have this red. Well, that is significant too, because it indicates the presence of hydrogen. Now, hydrogen is the number one element in the universe. It's the most prominent and most copious. Okay, most abundant. Oxygen is number 3. Helium's number 2, and carbon, by the way, is number 4. So carbon and oxygen have a love affair, and that's why life is based on carbon and oxygen, because it's the most prolific element in the entire universe, most abundant set of elements, those top 4: hydrogen, helium, oxygen, and then carbon. So it's really cool when you watch one of these nebulae form, because most likely you're going to see a bluish green and a red because of hydrogen and because of oxygen. And that's what we're seeing here. So it's kind of neat, and I would like to show you that we've now stacked 22 of these images, and our noise is now very little. And in the past, when we did things like this, we didn't have color cameras, and so we would end up looking like this, and we wouldn't know what color that was. All right, but once we got color cameras, we could actually add our color in and see that. The other thing we've done in the past is we've done negatives of our images. We've done this type of thing. Okay, and what that helps us do is visualize where the stars are and actually measure their positions more accurately. And we also can visualize what's going on in a nebula easier. Look at there's like some modeling in here. And that's something not as easily seen when you come back to this. Okay, it's not as easily seen. All right, so that's the negative. I've looked at more negatives in astronomy getting my degree than I've ever seen positives like this. And so, sometimes you think the nebulae out there are, and the universe is all in, inverse images, like the inverse negative. So this is this target we're looking at, and I'll show you again, and I'll make sure we get the coordinates set up. There we go. Right, this is NGC 2438. What's that mean? It means New General Catalog Number 2438. It's a small feature inside this larger Messier object, which is Messier 46. There's many different catalogs of stars and nebulae, and one of them is Messier catalog, as I mentioned. Another one is the New General Catalog, NGC. You have the Index catalog. You have the HD catalog for stars. That's the Henry Draper catalog. You've got the Sharpless catalog. You've got all kinds of catalogs out there. Okay, and so what we look for is a way to be able to catalog things in a way that we can look at again and again and again and find them using a specific catalog, because the catalog will have the coordinates where it's located. And that's exactly what this is showing us here. B says, thank you, Mark, for explaining in such a simple way I can convey to my kids. Yeah, of course, B. Actually, I taught a class in Virginia today, and I'm in Connecticut, but I did a Zoom class in astronomy and science for a class down in Virginia. It was really cool, and I guess if there's a superpower that people have, everybody has them. You've got one, I'm sure. The superpower that I might have is that I can take complex stuff and explain it in a way that everybody can join in the discussion. I hate leaving people behind. I hate it, and I don't ever want to do it. So clearly, I'm going to make sure that you're all along for the ride with me. Okay, so I'm going to save this image with annotations. We're up to 33. Okay, so that now is saved. Now, where is it being saved? Well, okay, here is the image. Okay, now what is it? It's an image that is now going to look like this. All right, and it's going where? It's going out to our server. And our server is at, you guessed it, skytourlive.org. We are a nonprofit organization, and I take no money. Actually, I do all this for free. I don't expect a paycheck. And we built the observatories mostly without donations. Some of them we had donations from people. But this is something that we just love to do. Absolutely love to do it. Okay, so this guy now, we've done this. We've saved the image with annotations, so we can get rid of this. Now what we'll do, I'm going to try and do this color correction. There's a little bit of a green cast, only because we still have a bit of sunlight left that's affecting us, believe it or not. So what I'll do now is I'm going to save this image with 37. Okay, and now that's going out to our server. And if you want to see these images, it'll be out there within 30 seconds. You go to skytourlive.org, scroll down to I want cool pictures, right? That section. Read the instructions, and then go there. I mean, it's our research server, and you're welcome to go and check everything out. We've got several years of imagery up there that you can dig through, and everything you can find on there you can take. There's nothing you can't take. Okay, I'm just a stickler. I think people should be able to utilize things and not be kept from data and imagery and the science. So I want to include you in the discussion. Cornucopia says, what is the white dwarf composed of and after it shed off the layers? Actually, a very good question. Okay, a white dwarf is a very, very compressed remainder of the star, the core. And in this particular case, believe it or not, its mass is less than 1.44 solar masses, mass of the sun. Now that's a magic number, okay? And that magic number, called the Chandrasekhar limit, was arrived at because if you have a core that has more than 1.44 solar masses, it would continue to collapse, okay, into like a neutron star, and we'll get to that. And so when we look at the stars that are white dwarfs, they get to a certain point, and if they're less than 1.44 solar masses, they get down to a point where the electrons that are free from the atoms, okay, the electrons that are free from the atoms, because it's so hot, they're all ionized, push back with a force holding up the star. Believe it or not, little tiny electrons, one of the smallest fundamental particles there is, and it pushes back with a force called electron degeneracy pressure, and that pressure holds up the white dwarf. Okay, now if a white dwarf has a red giant in orbit around it, and the white dwarf is sitting here and the red giant sitting here, the red giant can swell so large that it leaks hydrogen gas onto the surface of the white dwarf, and guess what? It's going to cause that white dwarf's mass to increase. And if it goes past 1.44 solar masses, then we can end up with a disastrous result. We could end up with a supernova where the white dwarf is eviscerated and explodes. And that's called a type 1a, as in Roman numeral 1 and little a, supernova. And these look the same no matter where we see them in distant galaxies. They look the same. They follow the same brightness curve when we look at their curves. And that allows us to tell the distance to things that have a type 1a supernova in them. So that's what we call a distance ladder object. And we can actually find the cosmological distance ladder in a variety of ways. And type 1a, white dwarfs with a red giant around them are one of the ways. This is an isolated star with no red giant, so we don't see that here. But this is beautiful. Okay, 50 images. We'll save this as the last one. Okay, and I'm going to just save it like this. Save exactly a scene. All right. Now I'm going to pause it, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to bring up our annotation for a moment and set the target name to Measure 46. I should have done that before. I didn't, so it'll complain, but it's not a big deal because, yeah, see, I told you, it likes to complain. But I can now save it all over again after I hit resume. I can save it again, and it's going to now go to that specific directory where it needs to go. It'll be in the right place. So there, see, even with the wind, our telescope can guide, and many times files that are bad will get rejected, and because we're guiding so well, I'm actually leaving off a whole bunch of features to help us guide, because our guiding system is really so good. And ERT Radio is with us. That's Ronald. Ronald is one of our donors, and I've been helping him with his telescope. He's trying to get his telescope up and running. He lives in Benson. He's about 3 miles from this telescope. And when I went out to the telescope last time, I brought him out to see it. It was really cool. All right, so now that we've seen this, okay, we're going to leave this and go back to our low light mode here that I like to use. All right, and that allows us to see the sky. And now we're going to do something else you haven't seen yet if you're new to this. We actually have a planetarium that we use, and it's hooked up to our telescope. So we can move all around the sky using this. And one of the things I'm going to show you now is that we have tons of other objects out here. We don't have to go very far to spend the entire night around here, but there are so many other things I want to show you. We've got galaxies and other clusters to show you. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to back out a little bit because I want to take you to something else, right? And this is the one we're going to do right now. This guy is called Thor's Helmet. Now, this is another star that is, in its death throes. This is a white dwarf. This another one we're going to show you is actually not in its death throes. However, it is a star that is in serious danger of supernova. In fact, it's going to go supernova. Okay, so let's see if, yeah, there it is. There, it's right there. So I'm gonna center it in the view. Let me first make sure that we're right where we need to be. Yeah, it's better. And now we're gonna center it in the view. Pull it up. Okay. So there we go. Okay, so now that's Thor's helmet. But you're gonna say, wait, I don't see Thor's helmet. Where is it? Well, in order to get you Thor's helmet, we have to do some things first. You can see the wind buffeting us right now. But we are going to grab another guide star here. We'll have plenty to choose from. Here we go, and let's do that. All right, so now we're going to try and guide on that perfect curve. That's a gorgeous curve for a guide star. Okay, so now right here is a nebula that you can't see yet. But wait until you see this. This is beautiful. Now we're going to do we're going to go to 200 gain now, so that we're going to get a little more sensitivity on our sensor. Now that increases our noise a little, okay? But it's also going to allow us to see this object a little more clearly. There goes a big satellite. That was a Starlink satellite, by the way. They go through on that diagonal in 1 second intervals. 1 second will show up in there. So that was a very bright Starlink. Okay, let's do this. Let's now do a 25-second photo. All right, and we're gonna get out of our low light mode and go into our live stack. Now, another thing too to notice is that when we come over here, that little guy right down there, that is our progress bar that tells us how far we are in the photo. So you look at that to see how long we have left. Okay, and so right when we get near the end, I will bring up the live stack and drop us out of our low light mode. So we have that. Now, obviously, you can see that we had some wind here, but that's no problem. We can get rid of it. But look at that. That's a beautiful nebula. So we're going to see. Now, the wind, again, as I said, it will die down as the night goes on. There are these adiabatic winds that would come up on the desert floor out there. We're on a plateau and with other astronomers. I have 9 other professional astronomers with me on this mountain. And, oh, that's beautiful. And they are doing their own thing. In fact, I'm gonna move this telescope camera up on top. I'm gonna look to the right and see if somebody else is up and running. And there is. Look at that. I'll show you. Okay, you can see his telescope up right there. He's looking. All right, so he's already running his system as well. All right, that's good. Okay, so now I'm going to bring us back down here. You're looking at our infrared system. So if you were there, it's pitch black to your eyes. Okay, pitch black. All right, but the infrared camera can see, and that's what this light is right here. This camera that is showing you this image is actually doing exactly the same thing. This guy has an infrared light, which I am actually going to turn off because that's probably not something that I want to use for that. So I'm going to turn those lights off. You'll watch them go off now. There they go. All right, that's good. All right, I am in Connecticut, and again, the telescopes are 2,600 miles away out in Arizona, and so we're just getting we're trying to get all this done. I don't want to have the infrared light interfering with our other nearby astronomer. Okay, now let's look at this. These are our curves. Now, what is interesting is there's a red, green, and blue curve here. You see those? Okay, down below, right here. Okay, and then this white one is the average. This is the dark level. If I move it in, you'll notice that it's going to get darker in the background, which gives us a lot more detail. This is our mid-level, and that allows us to pull subtle detail out, but at the expense of noise. See that? So what you do is you come down to where you don't see a whole lot of noise, and then you take enough exposure so you can keep sliding that over. The more exposures you have, we have 5 now 6. The more exposures you have, the more noise is reduced, and the more you can move this over. to pull out more detail. Let me do a color correction. Okay, and we're actually pretty good, so that's really nice. You'll notice in this you see some red. Okay, that red is very important because that's telling us that this this star that's in here, all right, this is good right here. This star that's in here, that the star that's causing this is right here. That guy right there is blowing a cosmic bubble. And you'll notice when you come in here and look, this is a bubble right here that this star has blown, and it's blown this outer one as well, all the way around here. See that? And then it's had all these arms of other gas that's been thrown off from it. Now, what could cause that? Well, we don't fully understand the violence of these types of stars, but it's probably due to some rapid rotation of some kind. Now, let's look at actually what we're talking about. What is this exact object here? This star is one that has actually blown off its outer layers because it has a huge stellar wind. Our sun has a stellar wind. When it hits our planet with stellar winds, we see auroras, right? Charged particles coming in. Well, this star is just blasting the universe around it, and it was so powerful that the core, which is here, has blown off its entire outer levels, and those outer layers are actually being blown away from the star at high speed. Now we're seeing this bluish green, and if you remember what I told you about the different elements that we see in these nebulae, okay, remember what that bluish green element is? Oxygen. Okay, so we're seeing, and it's doubly ionized, so 2 electrons are absorbing radiation, ultraviolet radiation, from this very hot star in the middle, and the electrons are bouncing off the oxygen atoms, and then after a while of colliding out there, they come bouncing back in. And when they do bounce back in, they're giving off energy, and the energy they give off is going to be in light, because they're actually capturing ultraviolet energy, and then they're going to give off light when they come back into the atom. All right, and in oxygen's case, it's this teal blue. Hydrogen is this red color. This entire area, notice it looks a little red here. This is all bathed in absolutely beautiful and outstandingly gorgeous hydrogen gas, right? And our guider is keeping up really well with the wind. What's interesting is if you look in this one right here, you see this image. There's the belt of Orion. There's Betelgeuse. The Orion Nebula is right there. You can actually see it in our security camera. That's how bright it is out there. I know it's hard to see, but if you're at 1080p, you'll see it. Make sure you're at 1080p. And Sharice in Dallas says, I'm a sponge for information. Am I the only one taking notes? Hey, you know what? You wouldn't be the first, let me tell you. Right? Yeah, so let me explain now what these stars are called. When these stars that have these amazingly high stellar winds are seen, they were first captured and seen by 2 guys. One's last name Wolf, and the other one Rayet, R-A-Y-E-T. So these are Wolf-Rayet stars. And the interesting thing is their stellar winds are so powerful that they've blown this all away, this outer layers, and this star now is destined to be a supernova. It's extremely hot. You can have temperatures well above 200,000 Celsius. Well, I should say the 200,000 Celsius on the surface of the star. Now, in the middle of the star, okay, the temperatures are many millions. It could be 100 million degrees or more, 200 million in the center, but the surface is about 200,000 perhaps. Now, how does that compare to our sun? Well, the middle of our sun's about 15 million Celsius, so, pretty hot. However, the surface is only, you ready? 10,000, that's Fahrenheit. But the surface is about, 6,000 Celsius. Okay, so we're looking at a star that is a lot less inflammatory, okay, than these stars. Now, if we brought a spacecraft anywhere near this, we'd be fried, okay, because it's just too much. It's just too much. Aurelio's with us. Aurelio Maraca, how you doing? What would this do to planets that orbit nearby? Yeah, what would it do to planets that orbit the nearby stars? Well, I will tell you. If there were planets, let's say, around the star that is sort of in this nebula, we could fully expect that its atmosphere, if it had any, would be stripped off of it by the high-energy stellar winds from this star. There would be no hope for life on that planet at all. Okay? And so that's what we'd expect. I'm going to now move this black level in to kind of bring up some more contrast. Look at that. Look at that. And now that we have 19 of these images and now 20, I'm going to move this in to show you even more detail. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, am I the only one that loves this stuff? Hi, Fantasy. Hey there, Michael Hendrick. What's going on? American Everyday. What's going on? Can you see where the Orion Nebula is on the current screen? It's not here. I mean, it's right there. I should actually just bring it to the Orion Nebula for the newcomers, so folks that haven't seen it before. It's going to be leaving rapidly. We have 21 of these. This is great. We'll save it, and this will be available to you in less than 30 seconds to download and have fun with. Okay. So that's Thor's helmet. So the Wolf-Rayet stars are very, very powerful stellar winds, very, very hot, always going to end in a supernova. We have many such Wolf-Rayet stars that we can see here in this. It's beautiful, dizzy, and it's also deadly. It's beautiful but deadly to us. Okay. Yeah. So I want to thank everybody that's joined us from Y-Files, and Gino from the Y-Files. Is going to hopefully join us later. He said he would join us. Sharon and Katie. Hi there, Sharon. How are you? I want this to be one of the pictures for my wall. You know what? You will have that because as a member of our Patreon at the higher tiers, you will get fully processed images, and they are available on our darkroom site too. But I want to get you fully processed images so you can actually do it yourself if you want to. So let me now save this with 24. Okay, and save exactly as seen. It's not gone. It's just going to the server now. I like to move fast, and if you guys missed it or whatever, don't feel bad, because this is going to be on replay. Okay, so now let's go back to this. And let's do this. I want to take you out to Orion because why not, right? I mean, we should show you Orion. Orion's already on its way to setting. It's really getting closer to the horizon. But let's look at the Orion Nebula because those of you who haven't seen it before, I think you'll really like this. You'll watch the telescope moving now over my head. You can see it heading in that direction. And I'm going to... Yeah, there we go. And I have to just stop the guiding, which is now doesn't have any stars to guide on. Oh, look at that moth. Yep. All right, and now we're gonna just move down a little bit because we're gonna have the Orion Nebula right just below us here. There it is. Okay, and this is with a 1 second exposure, 1s, 1 second, which is also 1,000 milliseconds. Now this location in the sky is really phenomenal. You'll notice there's 4 stars in here. These 4 stars are extremely young, extremely hot stars, and just like that Wolf-Rayet star, these are just hot young stars, but they have a tremendous amount of ultraviolet radiation as well. So they're ionizing oxygen out here, they're ionizing hydrogen, which glows red, and you're not really seeing it too well right now, and it's because of the fact that we're just doing a 1 second photo. But now I'm going to bring us in here and get a guide star, and what we're going to do is we're going to show you what's really going on here. And this is something that I think you will really like. And this is a perfect guide star right there. Look at that beautiful, beautiful shape of the guide star. All right, so now we're guiding perfectly, right? And now what we're going to do is we're going to take a 25-second photo. And here's the thing, our telescope is really good and really fast. So we're going to take a 25-second photo, and I'm going to prematurely come out of our low light mode and go right into our deep sky mode. All right, and when I did that, you will actually see now when it comes up, you'll actually see the Orion Nebula in all its glory. All right, and this will be one of the last times we can see it for this season, but I want you to see it. And kapow, look at that. All right, first of all, let's color correct it. All right, and now let's correct for the, look at that. Look at that. This is a real object. And guess what? You can see this with your eye. The Orion Nebula is below the belt of Orion. Okay, and I'll show it to you. It's in here. You can see here's the belt of Orion on the Lam and Mintaka, and right there is the Orion Nebula. It's down below, and you can see that as a fuzzy spot with your eye. Really cool. Here, the trapezium. You can see how it's lighting up, and it's causing the atoms in here to be ionized, and when those electrons recombine with the atom, they actually give off that light I was telling you about. Hydrogen gives off red, oxygen gives off teal blue, and sometimes dust just gives off a deep rich blue, which is cool. And I'll show you that with the next object. Okay, so what we're going to do is do this first, and we're going to get our identification here. We're going to say this is the Great Nebula in Orion. Okay, that's this. We're going to make that our target name, and we're good. Now, I'll save the image with annotations. All right, and it's gone to our Great Nebula and a Great Orion Nebula directory out there, so we can dispense with that. But I want you to notice something. This stuff right here, this is dark dust. It's here. It's up in front of the nebula. The nebula's behind it. So this is actually protruding in front of it, which is why we don't see any detail on it. It's in silhouette from the brighter nebula behind that's powered by these 4 stars. Actually, there's more than 4 in this nebula. Actually, this in the trapezium, it's called. It's really cool. You know. So now let's do this. Let's reduce this in size so you can see the full image. It's a big nebula. Look at this beautiful division. Isn't that something? All right, so let me color correct again. Okay, so there, that's going to give us a little more correction. And now, let's see where it wants to sit with its automatic settings here. All right, so now you see we have our black level here. The black level should be a little more off the curve. So I'm going to do that because it's going to brighten up the subtle data that's hiding out here. Okay, and then we're going to pull this curve down here, which is all the way down here, our mid-level. We're going to pull that in and start making more detail become visible. All right, and I usually try to get them both in the same frame. All right, and then we can adjust from there. All right, so that's good. So now you can see the stringiness of this dust. This dust is several light years in length. All right, now the Pleiades, the 7 sisters in our winter sky, we can't see them anymore. They're already too low. But the Pleiades are surrounded by dust, and they have a nebula around them. It's like a deep, rich blue, and I'll show you one of those in a few moments. And that rich dust that we see around the Pleiades is something that we ourselves may also be in, the same dust cloud. But remember, this is a dust cloud that's many light years in length. Okay, now this nebula goes outside this view and down below this view, quite distant, and that's about 22 to 23 light years in diameter. It literally takes 23 years for light to travel from one end to the other. Can you believe that? It's true. And when we look at this nebula, one of the things that we know is there's a lot of these little black spots in here. Now I'm going to zoom in on some of these. Okay, look at that dust. This dust, and you got these black spots. Look at that. Black spot, black spot, a dark spot. These are concentrations of dust that may be gravitationally self-contracting. And when that happens, there's undoubtedly hydrogen gas in here. And so it's possible that they are self-contracting into a star, right? Not the dust, but the hydrogen gas inside. And the dust could actually be part of an accretion disk, a disk around that newly forming star that will form planets. All right, and it's pretty cool to know that this is a stellar nursery where stars are born and where planets are also born. We think there's planets in here, in fact, that have formed without any star at all, and they're called rogue planets. Isn't that cool? Pretty neat, you know. I just had to take a little drink here because I just realized I'm talking crazy amounts of stuff here. So this is neat. Now, I think that this image really showcases well what we see in Orion. Now, Orion is full of all this dark dust. Full. All over the place. A large-scale photo. We have a wide-field telescope that we're installing 2 doors down from this observatory. It's already in the Sonoran Desert, but we're going to consolidate and bring that down here to Benson. So we'll have 2 buildings here on this mountain, and we'll be able to showcase and show you the wide field view of this nebula. We actually see a lot more space and a lot more data. And this telescope is really good at looking at tiny details, which the other telescope can't see the tiniest of details, but it shows you the vast oceans of dust and gas in the universe. It is just phenomenal. Isn't that a beautiful photo? I hope you guys like that. And what we're going to do now is we have 15 shots here. I'm going to save this just like this. Now, I'm saving 2 files here. You'll notice. I'm saving one, if you notice, with eagle eyes called FITS, F-I-T-S. That is a astronomical file format that is raw. When you load it into Photoshop, it looks black. There's like, well, what's in there? What's going on? What's actually going on is there's a lot of data in there. This camera has a lot of what's called dynamic range. So you notice, for instance, see how the trapezium is washed out? Well, if I grab this line and bring it over here, we can see all this other detail out here. See that? All this detail? All this dark dust? All right, all that? We see that. But this is all gone. But it's not really gone. And the reason it's not really gone is because I can then take this and move this all the way down here. All right? Keep going a little more. And go here. And look what comes back. It's there. So we have all this data. We have data from the smallest to the deepest shot to the least deep shot. And so it allows us to actually see all of the data in here really, really well. All right? So this is one of those things that you learn in image processing and photography. You figure out what's your target. What are you looking for? If you're looking at the dust here, then you take a picture like this where you actually see that dust out there. All right? And then if I really bring it in close, then we'll see some noise again. See, but we also see really, really tremendous amounts of detail in here. Now you see the full detail on this dark cloud. See that? Light years in size. Yeah. Where did this dark dust come from? That's something we always talk about. And that dark dust comes from supernovae. It also comes from stars that go and become red supergiants. And those outer layers are so far from the center of the star that they can create molecules out there, usually of carbon atoms mixing with carbon atoms. Again, carbon's the 4th most abundant element. So we'll see lots of dark soot type material out there, and that's what we're seeing here. Okay, really, really fascinating what the universe has in store and how it serves up stuff to us. Okay, so I'm going to take a picture of this just as we see it. Now, when I save the FITS file, it doesn't change, but the saving exactly as seen will save this file just like this. So you can actually see all this detail. And this, go back to this, and now we can actually see what's in there, which I already took a picture of. Okay, So that's the Orion Nebula, all right? And that's going to be up on, as you know, our skytourlive.org, okay? And there you go. And now let me do this. Fit the height, okay? And I'm now going to go back here and take us to the next object, which is just above it. And this is cool. All right, we're going to go here. And this is another type of nebula that we see in the universe. All right, this is called a reflection nebula. And this is one that's a combination. It's reflective as well as emission. And I'll show you that in just a minute. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab another star. That's a good star to guide on right there. Look at that beautiful peak. Okay. And now if we look at this, you'll see we have some fuzziness around these stars. That's kind of fuzzy. Now I'm going to do this. I'm going to see. Okay, so that is what we call the Running Man Nebula. And what I'm going to do is I was premature in grabbing that guide star, and that's fine. So what I'm going to do now is I'll move that up into the view a little more. Okay. And then move it over a little more, because there's some things I want you to see, because I am just crazy about this stuff. Okay. Yeah, so there we go. So I'm going to go up here. Okay, the Running Man Nebula is amazing because, well, it actually looks like a running man if you know how to if you know how to see patterns in the sky. All right, so I'm going to do this. Go up here and then move us up there. That should be right about where we want to be. Okay, so I will now get out of here and go back and grab our guide star. You're going to see some interesting stuff down here, which I'm going to show you. So let's grab our guide star again. Take another picture, grab a guide star. Oh, there's a trapezium right there. And that star is a little faint, but it'll work. We still have a peak there. I could always increase the exposure a little bit too. Alright, so let's do a 25-second photo of the Running Man, okay? And first things first, let me go and set the target name before we actually save it anywhere. Okay, that's good. And now we did it in its new general catalog number 1977, which is interesting. Alright, now let me adjust my camera. Okay, and now let's go and do the live stack mode here. Alright, and this one's coming in now. And we have this. Okay, and this is the region we're going to see. And you're going to see in a minute. Again, I'm at 200 gain. But this right here is way down here because it puts it in the optimal position so you don't have noise. But I want you to see what's going on in here. Right, and as we journey deeper into this nebula, you will see some interesting stuff happen. I'm going to get our curves brought in, and now you see it even better. You notice that blue right there. That blue right there is a reflection nebula, meaning that these stars are not ionizing hydrogen gas to make the hydrogen gas glow like we talked about before, but they're just their starlight is being reflected by dust here. Now technically it's not true reflection, it's something called scattering. It's the same reason clouds are white while the sky is blue. Alright, that's crazy, Mark. What the hell do you mean with that? Okay. When you have molecules in our atmosphere, okay, this blue color is made the same way as our blue sky. And the way it works is when you have a nebula and atmosphere, like our Earth's atmosphere, you have the molecules in the atmosphere of nitrogen and oxygen. When the starlight, the sunlight, hits those molecules, they selectively grab the blue light and shoot it back out in all directions. That's called scattering. It goes everywhere. And so no matter where you look in our sky, the sky is blue, right? Because the light's being scattered from those molecules everywhere you look. Well, same thing's happening here, okay? That same exact thing's going on here, right? Now, inside this nebula is this reddish thing. Now, that is an area where there's a lot more hydrogen, and so the density of the hydrogen in there is high enough so that we can actually see emission nebula, and it's poking out from inside. This is all within the blue nebula, okay? So that dust is all out here, all the way around, and inside is this red hydrogen emission. And what that is, that red hydrogen emission, is it's stuck inside the blue. So we see a trick of the color schemes. If you're an artist, you know how paint mixes, but what you don't know is how light mixes. And so when we look at taking this this blue color and mixing it with red light, this blue light and mixing it with red light, we get magenta. So this is the right color. It is a magenta color, right? It's not going to be a pure red. It's going to be magenta. And that's what we see here. Very different from what we saw with the Orion Nebula, remember? Now this guy right here, this is a tongue of dark material that's way up in the foreground, and all the nebulas behind it. So this is obscuring what's behind it a little bit. Same with this. Okay, so we've got 8 images stacked here, and again, this is the Running Man Nebula, because this red nebula in here kind of looks like a running man. Now, if we can over process this to see what's really going on, what we're seeing, all right, and obviously that's too much, and so we back out and do a more measured approach here to get this to work. And you can see everything happening. And the idea is to take our black level and ride up the curve, but don't quite reach the peak. And that will give us as dark an image as we can with the best stellar imagery in the back. Now we have 10 images stacked, and now we can actually see this a little better. But if we move our mid-level back, okay, down to here, you can see that it looks smoother. And that's because we are actually, not pushing our data so much, and we're not pulling out the noise. So letting it rack up a few more exposures will make this look cool. So while it's doing that, let me look in the chat and see if any of you have questions. Remember, you can actually put your messages in all caps. I know that's against the rules on many chats. He's yelling at me, but I appreciate when you do that so I can see what you're asking. Michael Hedrick is good at that when he asks a question. Fantasy says, it's the fuzz. That was a while ago. Marianne Robb is with us. Marianne is our CFO of our SkyTour Livestream, nonprofit organization. None of us take a paycheck. In fact, many of our paychecks sort of go into it, but that's okay. This is what we want. Yeah, Marianne's thanking Sharon for supporting us as she has. Yeah, she's one of the board members. Very important one. Yeah. Yeah, so, Sharice says, heck yeah, sorry. Keep wanting to use caps for the excitement and feeling. I'm feeling love. Oh, this is cool. I'm glad you love it, Sharice. When did you find us, Sharice? That's the question. Was it because of the Y-Files broadcast? A lot of people find us on Y-Files, and they've come in. A lot of you are from Y-Files, and that's wonderful. They love what we do, and if Gino comes in from Y-Files, I'm sure he'll reiterate that. I spent a lot of time with him down in Arkansas because he came out to see me in Arkansas, which is really nice. And he's from Vegas, But there are a lot of people in Arkansas that he got to see that was really cool, All right, so as you'll notice now, we're up at 15 now, and now we're seeing a little better view of this. So I might be able to... This is called a push when you move your mid-range toward the black level. Don't worry about that. And but you can see now, you can start to see some three-dimensionality to this, can't you? That's got like a bright edge which is being illuminated by all this other stuff here, the other light. Okay. Dizzy says, I once saw a faint star I was focusing on with the naked eye flash like a flashbulb and then was gone. What happened? I think I know what that might be, and I'll tell you why, because I've seen it. Okay. That is that is potentially, I'm not saying that I know all these things. I mean, I'm the Mutual UFO Network's chief photo and video analyst. I've been doing it since 2008. So I see UFO imagery and photos from all over the world all the time. And so as an astronomer, I also know what kinds of things we can see in astronomy. And what we see in astronomy is actually that there are satellites that when they're up in orbit, sometimes they're rotating, especially the geosynchronous ones, and they actually will flash you. You say, what's that? It was just there and it's gone. So it'll look like a star. Maybe if it was a star, then something else was going on. But I think that things happening with large stars take a while to take place. So, for instance, if you have yourself a star that is going, say, nova or supernova, it happens over the course of hours to weeks, and so you won't just see a subtle, quick flash. Usually, that's a human-made thing doing that to us, and so that's an unfortunate thing that goes on. And with Starlink up there, and Fantasy says, yes, it's the satellite. I've seen this many times. Yes, some of us have. Okay, and now Jerry Klein asks, what are the streaks of light in the sky in the lower telescope camera? Oh, meaning some of these? I'm not sure what you mean. Yeah, Michael Hendricks talks about the Iridium satellites. This is the lower camera. These streaks are just light streaks from the bright line here. Let's see. I've been looking at it several nights in a row. Okay. All right, I'm mixing up things here. I'm trying to figure out who's asking the right question about the streaks. Oh, here we go. I'm sorry, Jerry Klein. In the sky, in the lower telescope camera. This is the lower telescope camera, I believe you're saying. Well, if you're seeing streaks flying by there, you know what those are? Those are insects being illuminated by the infrared illuminator here in the building where you see there. So you'll see bugs fly through. If those are the streaks you're talking about, yeah, those are bugs. I know, huh? Yeah, they are. Dean Bosador, yeah. He's right. These are bugs. We can't get away from them. Now, what's neat is, I have the roof rolling off of this building. Our Sonoran scope, same thing. We're using a simple garage door opener to do it. We don't need anything more because the roof is very well balanced and just goes right off. But it's captive, meaning that even in a windstorm of 80 to 90 miles an hour, it won't blow the roof off. Because if it was just sitting there, then it could just lift right off. But it's not happening. Look at how much detail's in here now. Okay, that's beautiful. Let's do another. We got 25, 26. We're going to move on because it's down near the horizon too. So we're not even getting the detail we normally could out of it. But it's pretty good. All right, so we'll save this now and then move on and save exactly a scene. Okay. So that's the Running Man Nebula. Again, skytourlive.org. Look up, I want cool pictures. And there you go. Now, you'll see that it's actually, look how low we are to the horizon. And to see that, we'll turn this on. We're literally looking only less than 20 degrees above the horizon. And it was still coming out not bad. So Orion is about to go away for the foreseeable future. So we're going to go now to this guy. This is a little higher. This is going to look better. And I'm going to show you some details here. You'll notice the telescope's going to be looking up in the sky more there. Okay. And I'm stopping here, and I'm going to go back to the 1 second, and you'll see the new image in there. All right, there we are. And these stars are interesting because now, in fact, that might be exactly where I want to be. I'm going to just do a quick shot without guiding, a quick 15-second shot, because I just want to see if I'm where I am to show you. I'll do this while we're doing that and see if it's where I think we are. Yes, it is. Okay, so there we go. So we might be good right here, but I want to just let that show up. I want to show you some of the details in here. See, I told you it wasn't guiding. Yeah, there it is up there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to go back to our 1 second deep sky, low light mode. Okay. And I am going to bring that upper part down. Okay. And I'm doing that for a reason. Okay. And I'm going to do another way. Go this way with it. Yeah. All right. Now, here's what we're looking at. I'll show you. I'm going to go here. And let me also bring in our field of view indicator, and then bring us here. Okay, this is the Rosette Nebula. Okay, this we're actually going to be looking at this region right around here, I think. Let me make sure of that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a well, first of all, I'm going to grab my guide stars, and of course here we're going to have plenty of stars. All right, yeah, we got plenty. And now I'll do this. Grab the stars. Perfect star, absolutely perfect, beautiful peak and valleys. Good. And now we'll do a, we'll just say 20-second shot, just to make sure. And we'll go right into our live stack and then remove the low light mode so we don't confuse it. Hey, TJ, where's TJ? Where's TJ? I missed that. Oh, at TJ Hooks and Uppercuts. Okay, let me just first try this. Yeah, there we go. We got it. Okay, good. So that's what I want you to see. So first of all, in this object here, this is all hydrogen emission in here. It's a young hot star cluster. And this young hot star cluster is incredible because it shows some very fascinating features that I learned about when I was getting my degree in astronomy, because one of the guys that taught us was a American astronomer named Bart Bok, B-O-K. Bart J. Bok discovered some fascinating things. Now, obviously, we had some wind come through here, as you can just see that. And so I will clear and start over on this. I'm going to see if I can also do the full width half maximum filter, which will give us a ability to go back and unstack if I didn't like it. Okay, so now what's happening is we're pulling in light from this area, and what we're looking at is this dark dust, and you're going to see streamers of this dark dust, and it's almost unbelievable how much we see. The satellite went through. Okay, and it looks as if I have to also put on the aligned frames. I'll take off the full width f maximum though. I'll start over again. I want perfect shots for you. Okay, so we're going to align the frames and do this. So now we come back to here. If it can't align the frames, it'll fail, and that's what I want. I don't want it to include a frame that is bad. Okay, there's two. Already with two, we can see more detail in here. Look at that. So this dark dust I was telling you about then, again, created by supernovae and by red giant stars. This dark dust is the place where stars are born and where life begins. And the reason is because it's in those dark recesses of the universe that most of the building blocks of life are found and formed. All right, and these dark recesses will have a morphology. That is to say, they have a chronological order of events that can occur in them. And as we get more in here, I'm going to move this up a little. You're going to start to see some dark spots in here. And those dark blobs that we'll see are areas that are self-gravitationally contracting to form perhaps a star and or a star system. But we're looking at several light years across here right now. You know. Let's see. Any questions here? Sharon says, oh, okay, it's a TJ Hooks. By the way, welcome, TJ. I didn't see your first post anywhere. So there. Well, no, that's not. I don't know. Oh, yes, that's you. Okay. If you could possibly exist in the dark dust, what would it look like to the naked eye? Thanks for that question. That's a great question. I had to scroll up to see it. I'm sorry I missed it. Okay. The dark dust is something we might already be within, TJ. Again, I mentioned earlier that the Pleiades star cluster has a dark dust around it that its stars are illuminating and making us see by reflection, so to speak. And it may extend all the way to us and beyond. So we might actually be inside a long dust lane like this in our area. So what it would look like to our naked eye is we might not even see it. All right. Now, I'll give you an idea. How dense is this dust in here? All right. That's an important consideration. When we look, I'm going to move this up a little more, trying to darken it up. When we look at this dust, one of the things to keep in mind is that we compare the number of atoms per sugar cube size in this dark dust with the number of atoms in the sugar cube amount of air. There's like 10 to the 19th atoms in a sugar cube size of air. But in this dark dust out here that you see looking almost opaque, we're looking at only between 30 and 30,000 atoms. That's, my gosh, that's a huge amount of atoms, that is missing, So when you look at this and you say, it's 30,000 atoms, that's enough to be what we might call a dense dark nebula. So seeing these nebulae like this and seeing this dust, here's the spots I was telling you about forming up. See that? You got one there, one there, one there. Okay, we're starting to see them more. So this dust is not that dense, but across light years, it doesn't take much to start a gravitational condensing process. So with these little tiny blobs right here, what's happening in there most likely is that the dust is collapsing on its own gravitational weight or mass, and it's also creating a location in this nebula that might actually be forming stars and or planets. And so in our record album that we wrote and composed, which is, you hear some of it at the beginning, there is one cut called Life Began in the Dark. That's exactly true. Life began in the dark, and this is why, because in these dark regions, they're like little chemical factories, and they build the other things that we need for life. The building blocks of life are formed in areas like this. I mean, that, if you want, what we can do is this. I'm going to actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to move that down and go to full screen. All right, so you can actually see what's going on a little better. Now I need to come over here and move this out just a little so we can cut down on that noise. Soften it up just a bit. Let's try that for now. Okay, now we can see the number of stacked images down there. Again, 1080p is what you need. With 1080p, you'll be able to read all this data on the screen. Okay. Yep. Okay, let's see now. JSCO says that's amazing. Yeah, Gary Blevin says, such a great honor for us humans to be able to look into space and see things no humans ever have. To be able to ask questions and get answers. Oh, no, thank you. I thought you were making a comment about the human race, but you're making it about me. Thanks, man. Now I'm embarrassed. Thank you. Gary's a cool guy. I met him when I was speaking. I think, was that in Pine Top where I spoke, Gary, where we met, or was that in Show Low? I don't remember. In Arizona. I'm in Connecticut, and this telescope is 2,600 miles away from me. That's pretty cool. Wow. Yeah, so now you can see, now we've got we got this other stuff here, 20 stacked images. And what I'll do now is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to take the Rosette Nebula and I'll set that as the target name and get out of this, and then I'm going to save it. So I have to come up here and do a save the astronomical file format, and then save exactly as seen. Yeah. Now while we're bringing in more imagery, I'm going to come over here to our planetarium. Okay, and we're out there in the Rosette, but I'm going to look up to the north for a minute, see what is up there that we might be able to take advantage of. There's a few things I was thinking about. Well, in Gemini, there is Jupiter, and I guess we should look at Jupiter since we're here. Last time we looked at Jupiter, we could see Io's shadow crossing in front of it, but we didn't have the great red spot. Let's see if it's there tonight. So we'll go to Jupiter next, okay, and that's what we'll do. But let's finish up here. All right, so you can see all these beautiful stars. You can see the gorgeous details in this right here. This is where life begins, guys. Life begins in the dark, and it's all in here. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'm gonna pull this back up, dock it up right there. Oh, what did I do? Oh, I didn't destroy it. Don't worry. Okay, I did that. I should have. Let's resume. Okay, and now I'm going to do this. Now I hit the X by accident. Now we're going to dock it back up. So sometimes, you can actually reduce the size of your image to see more detail, which is really cool. And then you can pull this way in and you won't see the noise as much, but you see the detail in here. If I zoom in, you might see more of the noise. But look at those Bach globules that I was telling you about, that Bart Bach discovered as being new star formation locations. In planetary formation locations is really obvious there. Very cool. All right, let's fit the height in here. Cool, huh? Yeah. All right, we got 27. I'll save it here. Save it exactly as seen. It's going to be in the Rosette Nebula folder, so you can get it by going to Sky Tour Live, going down to I Want Cool Pictures. All right, so now let's go check out the biggest planet in our solar system. You up for that? Hoping you are. I am. All right, let's go. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into our low light mode here. Okay, and we got fitting the height. That's fine. Now let's go to Jupiter. And to do that, we're going to tell the telescope to go there. And you'll see the stars whip away. Okay, and there comes our crosshairs. Okay, Jupiter is right there. So we're going to bring it in. Okay. Yep. And now it's really bright, and we're doing a 1 second exposure here. So that's really, really bright. to us. So what I'll do is now bring this up into the view more. There we go. All right, so now we're seeing moons around Jupiter. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and usually the moons that are typically seen in these four are Io, Ganymede. I'm sorry, Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. But that might be a star. The moons are in a line, so that's a star. Let me go see. It looks like one of them is not visible right now, and that's kind of cool. Maybe we'll see another shadow. Let's zoom in. Yeah, come on. Okay. All right, let's one moment. I got to I have to restart my view here. It's not. There we go. All right, so now I can get us back in there in just a sec. Yeah, hold on. One moment. Sometimes we have to wait for Starlink. Let's get rid of that if we can. Still waiting. Okay, now let's do it again. And now we will be back. Okay, good. Okay, so let's zoom in here, and we don't have the red spot. It's around the other side right now, unfortunately. Okay, so we have Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. And where is Io? Io's not going to be there. Io's going to be closer. Okay. So Io's got to be around here somewhere. We have Thebe. Okay, well, Io must be behind it. Okay. So, so actually in the way we're looking at it here, let's just pay attention to what we have. Okay, we have Callisto and Ganymede. Callisto and Ganymede. And then we have Europa. This is Europa. Now, Europa is a cool location because we think Europa might have life under its ice. That is cool, you know? All right, let's go back here. All right, and now I'm going to come back in and we're going to drop our gain way down to 0. Okay, because we want to actually see the face of Jupiter, and to see the face of Jupiter means we got to expose a much shorter amount of time, and that also means that we're probably going to not be able to see the moons until we do another thing here. So as I move like this, we're going to do this, get a little bit brighter, a little bit more, and then we can actually zoom in on Jupiter. And Jupiter looks a little fuzzy. I mean, that means that maybe it could be that my focus is just a little off when you move up into the sky. It tends to sometimes do that. Let me try something. I'm going to go positive by a little bit. Go negative by a little bit. You can see it's an unsteady sky, so that's causing some problems. Let's try this. Let's see if we can do a yeah, see, we're doing a special run here. We're balancing the colors, brightness a little more. Whoa, the wind did that. Let's reset you, man. There we go. Yeah, the wind is blowing us around a little bit. So we'll reset the stack and start again. There we go. Look at that. Okay, that's a nice shot. We'll save that. Oops, I saved it in the Rosette Nebula directory. My mistake. Sorry about that. So I will write Jupiter. Yeah, it's fun when you actually do this. All right, so it'll complain, and then I'll just get through it. All right, so now let's reset the stack again. Ooh, that's nice. Okay, let's we're doing a stack right now. You notice that these numbers are climbing: 18, 19, 20, 21. We actually have 22 images, 25 images, 20, 30 images, and those are the images that are being stacked. You'll see the top here of Saturn. You can actually see. Actually, I can increase a little bit of the detail there. You can see in the northern reaches, you can see it's slightly blue, just like we see with Juno, the Juno probe. Really nice. Let's adjust the brightness and color again. Try the gamma. Yeah, that's fine. Do this, and then do that. Yeah, really cool. Really cool. All right, now let's. All right, that's cool. All right, so now let's just we'll save it again as a PNG. Reset the stack. Yeah, I've got it a little bit too detailed, and so it's washing out the color. Okay. Let's do this. Yeah, see, when I add a little more saturation, you can see the blue at the north and south poles, just like we see on Jupiter now. That's really cool. American Everyday says, wow, yeah, no kidding, huh? And he says, this is so dang cool. It is. And the thing, too, is, if we overexpose it, okay, that doesn't help us see the moons right now, but you can kind of see one out here. But if we go back to normal, all right, you'll see that looks cool. Now, I would actually, we are zoomed in quite a lot. Remember, this is the actual size of it on our image. Look at that. Right there. So that's how small it is. But it's not bad for what we're doing. It really isn't. I'm very pleased with how this telescope performs. It performs very well. Okay. Let's reset it one more time. There we go. Let's add some brightness to this. Now, we would actually see a black dot on the face of Jupiter if we saw Io's shadow. So tonight is a boring Jupiter night. The other night, it was actually when we had Io was actually inside this band, casting a shadow right here. And as time went on, we'd watch the shadow move across the face of Jupiter. That is so cool. Okay. Now let's see if we can get a little more detail out of this. Not really there. How about here? A little bit, but we gotta keep the color. And then fine. Let's do the fines. See what that gives us. Yeah, the fines gives us some detail as well. See, we can dig all this stuff out of here, and if we actually really push it, we go way overboard. Okay. And there's data there too that's interesting to see when we do that, but not really. It has to be nice. I'm going to reset one more time. Yeah. And now as we acquire more, now we're stacking more. See how noisy it was at the beginning? Now we're up to 18 and we just stacked, and it's going to now 21, 24, and it's going to look better and better and better as the stack continues. B says, my kids didn't want to go back to bed. They were fascinated by this live. Oh, I'm sorry, B. He turned you into a bad guy. I apologize for that. But hey, you know what? In the winter months, we go earlier. You're going to hate me when it comes to full summer, because by summer we have to start at midnight, 12:30. In fact, you know, and that's a problem. All right, let's save this, because we got some nice detail in that upper cloud bank. Look at that. Pretty cool, huh? That is neat. Let's see if a saturation can give us a little more detail. Yeah, so we're starting to get some rings. That's really nice. That's really nice. Cool. Yep. Let's now, I just saved it, so let's reset. And now we're going to try something else. We're going to say auto sharpen. Okay. And we're going to say auto sharpen more. Auto sharpen more. Okay, and then this is going to come up to about here. Yeah, that's really pretty. See, the color of the cloud bands is really about here. So I'm actually kind of pushing it a little bit. Let's see what the night sky looks like right now out there. Let's refresh. There we go. All right, that's cool. Orion is setting right here. See that? That's Jupiter. That's where we're looking right now. Okay. And now we have other constellations coming up over here that have some really nice stuff in it. Okay. Now, let's minimize and go back to Jupiter. Wow, look at that. That's really pretty. I'm really happy. That looks really nice. Let's see. What is this going to do for us here? Yeah, too much. I know what that's doing. Okay, and that's a very, very coarse adjustment. Let's do our fines. Get our fine detail. See, if we do fine detail, it can get really bad. But this is what happens. We take pictures in astronomy, and then we have to do the hard part, which is to actually image process them like this, to actually dig out some of the data we want to see. But this is looking nice right now. This is doing a nice job. And that's Jupiter. Can't miss it. You know? Very nice. Wow. Cool. BC Stargazer says, we're at T-minus 12 minutes for the launch of the rocket from Vandenberg. Want to watch it? Open it. Oh, it's a Starlink. Okay. Cool. Fred Phonebone, hey man, what's up? No, the red spot isn't visible right now. Wait a minute. What is that? Hold on. Hold on. This may be... Let's go in here and look. Oh, yes. Good call, Fred. The giant red spot is right here. It's starting to... Right there. Look at that. There it is. It's coming around. Really nice. Fantasy says he's ready with his binoculars because he lives 65 miles east of Vandenberg. I'll be out there at the end of May at Contact in the Desert. I've got to speak a whole bunch of times out there and run two Skywatches. You know, I was out there one day or one night. We were doing a Skywatch, Ben Hansen and I. And when this is beautiful, geez. When I actually we went to color because of the bright lights. That's better. Okay, and so when the crowd was getting restless. We had 2 full Greyhound buses of people there for our Skywatch, and the chairs weren't delivered in time, and so people are getting upset, standing around on their feet on the asphalt. Couldn't blame them. So we were like talking about, like, Ben, what do we do? Should we tell people to sit down in the asphalt and block the road with cars that people drove in with? Well, what we ended up doing was not having to worry about it. You know why? Because as we were talking, I noticed from the other side of the horizon a Falcon 9 launch, and it went right up over our heads. And everybody there saw a Falcon 9 launch up close and personal, going right over their head. The first stage going until it went and went into MECO, main engine cutoff. And that's it. From that point on, we could do no wrong. Everybody loved it. Okay, we're gonna save this. Look at that. The great red spot. Let's reset the stack and see where it is now. It's probably gonna be a little more onto the surface of Jupiter, onto the face. Yeah, it is. Yay, the red spot's coming up. That's cool. That's really neat. I was hoping we'd see the red spot. Beautiful. And these are the good settings too right here. Wow. Look at that. Yeah. And because, remember I told you the weather's going to calm down? It is. And that's why we're getting such a beautiful photo here of Jupiter. Because the weather has been alleviating. I just brightened everything up. Look at that. You can see many cloud bands up here in the hemisphere here and down here. You can see some intricacy in this one. And there's the great red spot. Hey, man. Fred Foambone, Eagle Eyes. Good job. Yep. Wow. Neat. Ronald Radio asks, are you using a filter? Yeah, Ronald, over here, if you look, this is our filter section. Okay. We could use a radian filter. We could use the UHCS, which I'm using now. We could use the SA100, which is a spectral filter. I'll give you an idea what that looks like. So I'm going to save this as a ping. Okay. And then I'm going to pop out of this for a moment. And this is what Jupiter looks like without any sharpening or any stuff done to it. But if we go to the SA100, okay, and now watch, you're going to see its spectrum. Okay, here's the spectrum of it. Now, we are in the process of getting a spectrograph for the telescopes, and we're going to have 2 telescopes in Benson, and one of them is going to have a spectrograph mounted on it along with the main telescope. So we're going to actually be able to take the spectra of Jupiter and literally tell you exactly what the upper atmosphere is made of in Jupiter. We're going to be able to look and identify the elements and the compounds in that. So that's going to be cool. All right, so I'm moving the filter wheel now back to UHCS. All right, that's cool. Let's do one more of this, and then we'll move to something different. Okay, let's actually zoom in more on this, because we can. Yeah, look at the great red spot moving around. We're up to 25 stacked. It goes to 100. I set it to 100. That's about the limit you need to go to. That's pretty. Actually, it's one of the best nights, even though we don't have Io's shadow. Yep. American every day. I just love this. Yeah, no kidding. It's so cool, huh? That's pretty cool. Mr. Django says, wow, that's special work. It is neat. There's no doubt. And I love showing this stuff to you. I love showing you the solar system. Just wait until Saturn's rings are in a better position. Oh, boy. You know, they were nearly edge on recently, but they're going to change slowly. Wow. A beautiful planet, Jupiter. Now, that planet right there it's literally 80 times too low in mass to actually be a star. If it had 80 times the mass it has now, then this ball would be a star in our solar system. All right, it's mostly hydrogen, and it would be with 80 times the mass it has, which is no small feat. This would actually be a small star, probably like a M-type dwarf. I mean, O's are the hottest and the bluest, and then it goes O, B, A, F, G, K, M. We're a G. Okay, we're a G type star, and the M stars are the smallest, and that's probably what we'd see with Jupiter if it became a star. We would see this ball right here actually have a glow to it, but it would be a reddish glow, and that's what this star would, if it was a star, would actually deliver to us. Now, what would that say for the Earth? It might have an effect on the Earth, because as a star, it would be brighter in the night sky, and be in shadows. We can't see it right now. We can't see Saturn right now. And Io is the moon we cannot see at the moment, correct? But look at that. There's that red spot. Look at that, man. That's really looking good. Again, we're going to save it again. All right, I'll reset one more time. Okay. I want to see the red spot moving. And so right now you'll notice it was at the edge of the field. Now it's a little more onto the face of Jupiter. See that, guys? And so we're actually watching the planet rotate. You know, it rotates like every 10 hours or so. So the clouds in the upper cloud deck of Jupiter are moving hundreds and hundreds of miles an hour. So it's really a dangerous place to be. Yeah, and Ronald says, since you're on this channel, check out all the archives. Yeah, that's at skytourlive.org. You can go there and scroll down to I Want Cool Pictures, and then look at all the many photos we've taken over the years. And we even lost 4 years of data thanks to a hacker. But it's okay, because I got back, I had it all on my local machine, and although I didn't upload it again, I did move it. I moved some of it, so we have some of it back online. Yeah. So what do you guys think? Is it worth hanging out with SkyTour Livestream on a nice night like this? Let me know. Let me know. Yeah, fantasy, all the pictures are free. That's correct. This is a free picture you can take. You know? Yeah, I'll save this because that's beautiful. All right, and when I save it, by the way, it's going to our directory. And so this is what it's going to look like. This is what it looks like in our directory. And what you can do is you can actually zoom in on it, okay, and see the data. Now that ring right there, that's from a little bit of over processing, okay. So we can actually get rid of that ring right here with this. So we can de-ring this, it says. Okay, so that would actually, that removes the ring. And then we can actually save it again. Okay. Actually, you got to play with it because it still shows it there. Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is Jupiter. All right. So we'll leave the Jovian planet behind tonight, and we'll head to something else that's really cool. I think we're gonna actually gonna get rid of the stack here for now. All right, and we are at 100 milliseconds, so we're seeing it update really rapidly. But if I actually take us back to our low light mode here, you'll see it gets extremely bright really fast. All right, and now we see the moons again. Now we have in what our view here, we have these sitting here. I am going to bring up our gain back to 200. All right, and then let's go in here. All right, and let's check out something else. All right, so this is Gemini. All right, and now let's go. Let's see if we can go up this way. We're heading toward the east. All right, and there's Sirius. Sirius is now running along the horizon. See that? However, with the loss of Sirius, we have the gain of the constellations of spring, including Virgo. Now, Virgo is an incredible constellation because it has among the most populous of galaxies in the entire sky, and that's really cool. And Coma Berenices up here, same thing. We have a globular cluster here. This is Messier 3. Might be fun to look at that. Okay, we have Messier 53, which is even better. Okay, so let's do that. Let's go up and look at Messier 53. All right, we'll head over there. You watch this screen. You watch the telescope now. It's gonna go wild now and take off to the other side of the sky. You can see what's going on here. Let me try something here for you. Let me show you what's going on. That's the filter wheel right there. And that's the camera. Okay, and of course that's the telescope barrel. Okay, so we'll get this down here again. Pull this up here. All right, and now we'll bring it back down. Okay, so let's see where we are now. We're at 1 second here, and did we? I don't know. Oh, I can see I have to focus again. That's okay. Let's find out if it knows exactly where we are now, because when it spins around, sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay. Yeah, I didn't think it was going to find it, so I have to actually take a photo. I'll take a 5-second photo at 200 gain, and that should be enough to give us stuff. Karen, good night. Thank you for joining us tonight. All right, so now let's see if we can solve. See, we can actually solve for the stars here, and we found this. We found it. It knows where it is in the sky by looking at the pattern of the stars, and there we go. And now we have our beautiful cluster. All right, this is a 5-second shot, but I'm gonna go back to 1 second here just for purposes of doing a find. Okay, and let's move this up. Perfect. Okay, so this is a globular cluster. These are called halo objects in our galaxy. They actually are orbiting the galaxy outside of the galaxy, and they plunge through the spiral arms sometimes, and then plunge back up through the spiral arms. Yeah, you do, Ronald. You have star sense. Yep. Okay, so now we have that there. Let's go now and grab a guide star. We'll do a 1 second, see if that's enough. Oh yeah, we got a guide star. Yeah, I'm going to pick this guy right here. And that might be a little too much. I may have to go a little less. Well, no, I don't. Perfect. Again, a little broad. That's better when they're pointy, but this should work. Okay, so now what we'll do is we're going to come in here. All right, and let's take now, this is, we'll get the identification now of this particular object. All right, and that's it. It's M53, Messier 53. See that Charles Messier at it again. Okay, and Messier 53, we'll set the target name. Okay, so now we come out of this, and now let's go and do a Let's do a 25-second shot. All right, and then we'll get out of our low light mode. All right, and go into the inky blackness of our deep sky mode. Sharon and Katie says, okay, what does Sharon say? I ran an analysis on Mark. Uh-oh. I'm afraid. Not really. I saw what she said. Okay, look at that. Wow. All right, first of all, we'll color correct. Okay, get our curves all lined up. Now let's watch this. Boom. Okay, and now let's do this. Let's move this down here. Look at that, guys. This is a most incredible globular cluster. The halo object orbiting our galaxy. Look at that. Beautiful. Now, these clusters can have hundreds of thousands to millions of stars. Okay? Now, what's interesting about it, and if you look at this cluster, you'll notice that it looks like a snowball of stars. They are all gravitationally bound to each other, but when it comes in and goes through the galaxy's spiral arms, it may leave some stars behind. It may gain some stars as it comes out. But in general, the stars that are in here, especially those in the core that don't ever leave it, those stars are almost as old as the universe itself. And what's interesting about them is that they were among the first stars ever to be formed. So when we look at them with a spectrograph, which can tell us what's inside of them, what they're made of, we see that they're very, very boring. And so they're mostly hydrogen, and they have some helium. And that's about it. So what does that tell you about planets inside of one of these globular clusters? It's always romantic to think about whether they can have planets in there. But the fact is, if it had planets, they would have to have been picked up from going through the galactic disk, because these stars are devoid of the materials to make planets. Okay, let me do this. Okay, so we only have one frame stacked right now, so we'll get a second one here in just a sec. Okay, so that's the thing. It has trouble sometimes aligning frames when the stars are so compact like this. So this one should give us a second right there. There it is. So now look at that. See how quickly we got better data. Look at how this goes out. This is Measure 53. It's not Measure 13 in Hercules. That's to come. We'll see that later in the year. And Norjan Streshty asks, would the older stars look red? Yes, they would. Older stars will have passed through their hydrogen to helium fusion phase and would end up moving into a phase where they're actually going into a red giant phase. They may then fuse helium into carbon, okay, at about 100 million Celsius in the center. But that happens at one or another times because of the fact that we're looking at stars that are, as soon as they start to run out of their fuel, the core starts to contract. And that makes it much, much hotter. And that contraction causes heat and radiative pressure to push outward, which will bloat the star into a red giant. So it's sort of an automatic imbalance reaction. It's a reaction caused by the imbalance of gravitational contraction versus outward radiation pressure. In a star like the Sun, that's all balanced. We don't have any. We have plenty of hydrogen to go around for another 4 billion years. Billion, not million. And so it's pretty neat. This is one of those things that is it's one of these stars clusters that is really just beautiful. Okay, And so let's see now. If I go into enhancement, let's see where I am. If I turn it off, yeah, I turn it on and get a little sharper. Yep, very nice. Yeah, so this is again Messier 53. Charles Messier looked at it and said, "Not a comet. Mark it down and avoid it." Are you serious, Charlie? Come on, look at that, Charlie. Yeah. Yep. Ronald, you got it right. It's a Messier 35 is in Gemini, but that's not what we're looking at here. This is Messier 53, okay? And there are other ones here, but we're actually up in Coma Berenices, Berenices Hair. And to see that, we just show you there's Berenices Hair, okay? Here is Virgo, all right? And Virgo has the most incredible, as I said, collection of galaxies in the entire sky. We also have a bunch in the Coma Berenices section as well, constellation. So there's a lot going on here. Yeah, and let me. You know what I haven't tried, which I think would be kind of cool. Let's look it up. Oh, we're gonna look up. Virgo Galaxy. Let's see. Yeah. So as I move in here, look at all these red things. See what those are? Those are galaxies. Those are all individual island universes, just like our Milky Way. But look how many. Now we have about 150 billion stars in our galaxy, and 150 billion stars could actually be dwarfed by some of these larger galaxies, like the Virgo Galaxy. It's way bigger than ours. In fact, in the center of this galaxy here, which is a big elliptical, it just looks like a big fuzzball. This galaxy actually has within it a supermassive black hole. Most galaxies do, but it's such a big one, and it was imaged by the New Horizons telescope, which is a bunch of telescopes all over the Earth that actually imaged the galaxy all at the same time. And it effectively gave us a crude but 8,000 mile diameter telescope, the diameter of the Earth. And the larger the diameter of your telescope, the more detail you can see. So the 8,000 mile diameter was actually perfect. And so we were able to see the black hole. Right, I'm going to save this as Messier 53 right now. And save exactly as seen. And now we've got 14. That's more than enough. And now we're going to come out. Let's do this. We're going to dock it up like that. And then we'll come out of here and go back to our low light mode. And give us that low light mode. You'll see a little hint of that object. There it is. Okay. So now let's go over here to the Virgo Galaxy. This should be fun because we're going to see galaxies. Now this square represents the size of our field, by the way. Okay, and there's the Virgo Galaxy. Okay, let's first of all get this out of the way. All right, and I believe that's the Virgo Galaxy. Let's confirm that in a minute with a photo. Here we go. And then do this. Okay, that's another galaxy over there. I'll leave that there just in case. All right, and then I haven't. Let me do a just a few second exposure on this. I'll do 10 seconds exposure. And just get my confirmation taken care of here. Here we go. And so now let's do this. That looks like the Virgo galaxy to me. And it is. Okay. And these are other galaxies already. You see, when you take a picture in the Virgo constellation, it's guaranteed, almost guaranteed, that you're not going to be able to take a picture without catching at least 2 or 3 or 4 galaxies. So let's do a 25-second shot. I'm going to drop it down to 150, and I'll tell you why. There's a subtle feature on this that I want to see if we can see. And it's really hard to see, and we're going to see if we can do it. Alright, so we're going to do our live stack right now. We are going out of low light mode into deep sky mode. And our first image will be coming up. Oh, wait, I didn't actually get a guide star. Sorry. Well, luckily, it wasn't that bad. Well, let's do this. And yeah, that's a good star. Very good, yes. Okay. Oh, very prominent. Okay, that's the little thing I wanted you to see. That's cool. All right, that worked really well. Okay, so I'll check that out. I'll show you. Okay, and now, color correction shouldn't be that big a deal, but let's actually try and pull that in. Okay, so the Virgo galaxy is interesting because it has this jet coming off of it. It's a jet of high energy streaming particles coming out of this galaxy. And as you can see, we're not even really, well, we actually look like we're kind of focused. That might be other, I don't know what that is. That might be a problem. Yeah, we gotta redo this because our guiding is off a little bit. So let me clear this and do one more this way. Then we'll look at some of the other galaxies in here. I mean, you can see in some of the shots we've taken, you can see like 80 galaxies. Really something. Yeah, see, now we see the stars as round. That's good. Very cool. All right, now, this is the galaxy that we found the black hole in. When you look at that orange donut-shaped object, that was in the middle of this galaxy right here. This is the actual galaxy that we were able to image the black hole. This is 55 million light years away from us. 55 million light years. That means we're seeing it as it was 55 million years ago. So 10 million years after the dinosaurs died, the light that we're seeing right this second left this galaxy. Right? Remember, they died 65 million years ago. So for 55 million years, the light we're seeing right at this second left that galaxy to come here. And now we're seeing the light, and then it's gone. And you saw it. You were witness to it. Okay, so we have 3 good ones here. Look at the detail in this. This jet has details in it, which is really interesting. Let's see if we can either drag some of this out or soften to make it more clear. Yeah, that helps make it more clear. So there it is. So deep inside this tiny image on our screen here is a supermassive black hole. You know how big that black hole is? It's about 5 times the size of our solar system. 5 to 6 times. How about that? How about that? Whole solar system now. That is outrageously mind-blowing, you know? Really is. Okay, let's see if we can pump some more data. See, the more we do, there's stars out here that are all out here. So let's look at that. That is so cool. Here's another galaxy out here. And let's do this again. So that galaxy there is a faint one. Even fainter one there. And let's get the positions a little better. Yeah, there it is. Cool. That is something. So we'll call it the target that we're going to look at right now. Okay, and we'll save it with annotations, like that. And then we can get rid of the annotation, so then we can actually just save it and save it exactly as seen. Now what's interesting with our wide field system, this radio jet, this jet of material is actually kind of hard to see because it's a wide field system, so we're looking at a very, very tiny object. So that wide field system is meant for giant swaths of sky. This one is meant for very small points in the sky. So this is kind of cool. Okay. So we got 9. We'll go to 10 on this and then move to, because I want to show you some other objects before I turn into a pumpkin here. Yeah, that is insane. A black hole could be that big. American Everyday says, yeah, well, black holes can grow and grow and grow as long as they have mass entering into them. Okay? And the definition of a black hole is defined by its Schwarzschild radius, which is a radius of the distance from the center of the black hole to the outside where the what's called the event horizon is. The event horizon is that transition point where space gets curved so deeply that, and within the event horizon, same thing, where space gets curved so deeply that if light is circling the black hole, but it goes for some reason into the event horizon, it's curved so deeply that that light will just spin around and curve around inside the black hole and never get out. And that's what we see with black holes. This jet is very, very prominent now. That's beautiful. Wow. So I'll do 12. Okay. Now maybe we can actually get to a different one that's actually cool. Again, that'll be up on skytourlive.org. You know, it's not lost. I like giving you everything we take pictures of. So now let's go out here. And back out of here. Let's go here. This is maybe, yeah, see, this is neat, but I want to show you a galaxy that actually might actually have the ability to show us some detail. It's M91. I remember that. Yeah, maybe that. Let's back out a little more. Maybe down here. Yeah, these are where I was thinking down here. Now I might have one. Yeah, let's yeah, these the elliptical galaxies are just kind of like blobs, right? So we want to actually show something a little better. What about M58? Oh, that might be a really nice one. Okay, we'll try M58. Yes, we will. Okay, let's go there. I had just instructed the telescope to go there. And theoretically, it should be here, and I bet you that's it right there. Yeah. Alright, so that's it. So what we're going to do now is come back here, Move this down. Then move over a little bit. So when you look at a galaxy like this one through a telescope, you might only see a core. You might not see any of the real fancy details. And Cornucopia says, have a wonderful night, everyone. Gotta sleep. Yeah. Hey, I know, man. I apologize, but this is what we do. You can always watch the end later on. Okay. Mundus Flint says, is that the size of the event horizon? That goes back to the conversation we just had. The size of the event horizon is the size of 5.5 solar systems. And that's the radius from the sun out. Oh, sorry, diameter. 5.5 solar systems in diameter. And that's what we're looking at. Let's, if I'm not answering that question right, please rephrase and we can talk about it. Okay, it looks like trying to find a star in here. Okay, this is an area where there's very few stars. I'm gonna go up to 2 seconds of an exposure. And I think we're getting one right there. And we are. Nice. Okay, that one should work. Okay, now we're going to do a 35-second exposure here for this one. Okay. And we're going to go actually up to 250 gain on this. Technically, I should have set the gain earlier, but that's okay. So there's what we're looking at right there. And we're going to go live stack and go into deep sky mode and pull out of our low light mode. Let's see what we get. Robert Berry. Hey, I hadn't heard that one before. Oh, look at that. We got a satellite coming through here too, but we have some wind that's bothering our stars here. So I'm afraid I have to start over again. Yeah. So B in the Shadow says, so if it is about 62 to 68 million light years away, this light could have been released from M58 right as the dinos bit the... Yeah, actually, if that's correct. Yeah, and we have looked at objects that were 65 million light years away and farther. And you're right. The light left those the day the dinosaurs died, kind of a thing. So that we see that a lot, you know. And so the thing to keep in mind is the universe is a big time machine. And you're always looking back in time, never looking forward in time. Okay, so here it is, this galaxy, and we're gonna color correct. There we go. You'll notice this kind of looks like an F1 steering wheel for like a Formula One car. But as we do more of this, as we let this go a little longer, you'll see some details showing up. So I'm gonna move this down. You can see a little bit more of the modeling in here, and we're gonna see that as it gets better. We got 2 stacked frames right now. This star is actually, this galaxy is actually just a little bit more faint enough, so we have to go a little bit longer on the exposure. But I see a bar across the center. And we have spiral galaxies and we have barred spiral galaxies. A spiral galaxy with just plain old spiral arms is an S. A barred spiral galaxy is a capital S, capital B. So you have a spiral with a bar. And the bar is this horizontal structure, and then the spiral arms come off the ends of the bar. So if I do this, pull it in, and we color correct, that should be pretty good. Okay, and now let's do this. Let's increase the brightness here, and let's grab our target. We're going to say that it's measure 58. We'll set that as a target. Okay, there we go. Save image with annotation, so now we have it. And here we go. All right, so we have 5 images now. And from the time we got the first one to the time we have this 5th one, you can see we're starting to see detail in here now. Because we're doing that thing I told you about. By stacking, we actually remove noise, and the subtle detail in the background becomes more visible. Really nice. When the astronauts did this last mission, did they go back in time? No, they didn't go back in time, but time slowed down for them. It's a small, did I say small? Change. But whenever you're in orbit around the Earth, time for you has slowed down. And so if you have a twin that's exactly, say, 42 years, 9 months, 15 days, 32 seconds, plus, 6 milliseconds and 4 nanoseconds, you will have gained, you would have slowed down time for you, so that maybe the nanoseconds are no longer on your age. But you have to get closer to the speed of light to actually do some real damage on that. I encourage everybody to look up the twin paradox, which is an Einstein relativity conundrum about 2 twins, one on the Earth and one up in space. And the twin in space goes to Alpha Centauri at near the speed of light. And for him, it takes just a few years to get there. But by the time he comes back, everybody he's ever known on Earth was long since gone. So it's kind of interesting. It's called time dilation. And it happens for the person who's flying at a high rate of speed, close to the speed of light. Your time would be shortened by a great deal, but somebody watching you, a lot more time would pass on the Earth. Look at the detail now showing up. Now we can start to see the spiral arms here and the detail of the dust in here. So we can pull this in a little bit. Maybe we'll see more. Oh yeah, look at that. Now you can see all this detail here in this galaxy. Isn't that crazy? Yep. Dizzy says, what's that? Is us. I'm not sure what you mean. Are we forward in time? No. We're at normal time, and time slows down. It doesn't ever go forward. I guess if you think that, if we go someplace at a high rate of speed, and as we turn around and come back, I guess we can say that the people we left behind kind of moved forward in time, but in fact all we did was move slower in time. Look at that. Now the detail's really showing up, guys. That's cool. Neato. Save the image. Okay. Michael Hedricks has a question. All right. So let's save this again. One moment, Mike. I'll get to you. This is what's good about SkyTour. You want to ask a question, just ask. Mark, how do we know it's not just frequency shifting. Is there a way to know it actually changes time? Okay, yes. The way we know it changes time is by looking at how Einstein predicted time would change when moving near speed of light. And we know and can calculate exactly what the slowdown would be and what that will be. I remember doing many such calculations trying to figure this stuff out. You know, Donald Kunzer, thank you for coming out, man. I know you're crashing, so yawn no more and go to bed and dream of galaxies and nebulae. So Michael, American Everyday says, how far away is this galaxy? Well, let's go take a look because it's in here. This galaxy's distance. Well, we get a parallax angle. We get a distance. Okay, guess what? This galaxy is 62 million light years away. So you know what that means? It means that this galaxy, being 62 million light years away, its light left literally just 3 years after the dinosaurs died. Isn't that crazy? Yep. That's kind of cool. District Cannon, how you doing? We have a request for Mesher 33. I don't know that we can... Let's find out where Mesher 33 is right now. I'm getting some data dropouts too, so I have to pay attention to that. Not sure why it's happening. But, yeah. Okay, well. Okay, let's do this again. There we go. Yeah, sometimes you gotta like reset. It's weird. Okay, let's do that. Let's look to see where Mesher 33 is. It may not be available. Let's find out. Yeah, it's not. It's below the horizon right now. Yeah, it's down below the horizon. Not available at the moment. I didn't think so, but I figured I'd look anyway to see if the timing was any good. But look where we're looking. We're looking way up high in the sky here. Right there. So that's pretty good. Alright. Oops, I want to do that again. I wanted to come up here. This guy. Do that. That's that looks like okay. The Great Star Cluster in Hercules is down here, and it's near the horizon, so it won't be very impressive. But we'll check that out as the season comes around. Okay, that's a promise. All right, let's go up here now. All right, let's go here. Oops, back out. Don't go crazy. We'll be checking out more of these galaxies moving forward too. Okay, so now we're there. Mesher 58. Okay, now take a look. We have 19 images, but look at now how much detail we have in this galaxy now. This is what stacking does for us. Stacking allows us to see detail and bring detail out. And this is, look at that, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful view. Now I can, I don't want to move over the black line there because then we start losing data. Okay, but if we pull it back just to the left of the peak, then we actually see as much detail as we can. So there's our beautiful galaxy. Yep, 20 is the images here. Yep. And save exactly a scene. Very nice. Okay. Let's see what else, if there's one more we can do before I lose my stamina. Oh, wait. Let me try this. Where are these guys? Let's look at this. Oh, yeah. Yes, these are here. Okay. We're going to look at the antennae if we can get there. This is... Oh, these are perfect. Let's see how this will work. Okay, so we're going to... 21, let's save those. Save exactly a scene. All right, now we're going to go out and find what are called the antennae. These are two galaxies in collision, and they are just incredible. So let's do that. We're at 250. That's good. All right, and now let's come out of the zoom here. We're going to fit the height like that. Now let's go here and let's go to the antennae. So the telescope is going to wander. There it is. Okay, so technically the antennae are now in the view, but we may have to adjust. Wait a minute, that might be them right there. Wow. We might have got them. Okay, hold on. Let's stop this. Let's do a 20-second shot just to confirm. I'm thinking maybe we're looking at one of them right here. Or maybe here. Well, we'll find out. Yeah, we're a little bit lower in the sky, but the antennae are really striking. Let's see what we got. All right, well, at least now I can actually see if I can grab the actual objects. We've certainly found them. Our offset is not that bad. All right, so we'll come here. All right. Okay. Right now, well, let's do this again. Let's just do now. We'll do 10 seconds. I think they'll be centered up right now, actually. Hey, Lori at LDP. Thanks for coming out. It's good. Oh, look at those. They're beautiful. Thank you for coming out, Lori. And we will talk to you on the next Sky Tour live stream. All right. Okay, let's now take a gander at this. I haven't seen this ever in this scope, so this is going to be a first for me. This is going to be a 35-second shot, and we're going to make sure we have our guide stars, because the guide stars are going to be very important. Let's do this. Yeah, like this. Do that. No, I don't like that. We'll do this. Try again. That's the one I want. Perfect. Absolutely perfect guide star. This will be a beautiful image. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're starting a 35-second still here. And we're going to come out of this and go into our low light mode. I'm sorry, our deep sky mode. Hope you guys are having a fun time tonight. Let's take a look at what two galaxies in collision look like. They've passed through each other and ripped each other apart. And they're called antennae because they look like two antennae, which is really weird. Look at that. Okay. Now, let's color correct those. And now let's like I mean, this is a little early, but I want to see what else is out there. Okay, you can see that it's got extra stuff sticking off of it, and if we look in here, you can kind of see where that is. Okay, it's really far out, you know, so we're gonna look for all that stuff too. Yeah, so it's probably out here and out here. Yeah, probably. Neato. Let's reduce that. Okay, good. You can see the collision between these two galaxies has done something amazing. It's actually set off star formation within these galaxies, because that's what happens. All right, so this is rather amazing. I want to look up something right here real fast. Okay, so that's that. I'm trying to see. Well, first of all, let me look at the... Okay, so it's upside down. Okay, it's upside down. That's what I thought. Okay. See how it's upside down here? So we have to... This is the top. This is the top. And we have to flip it over to see it right. So if we have to flip it over, what that means is that these appendages are going down from the top like this, going out like this. So that's cool. I get it now. Wow. Yeah, B. That's actually not a bad comparison. It's actually a cosmic car wreck. Very cool. That's actually a very good way to put it. Wow, that's just something. Yeah, I haven't looked at these at all in this telescope, which is really kind of cool. All right, this is Antennae Galaxies. I'll set the target name. So I hope you guys find this is worth it to you. I mean, this is kind of a fun thing, you know. But you know, if you're not careful, you might actually learn something. You know, and you know, we can see the effects of cosmic principles in play just by looking at all these different galaxies. You know, it's funny too. There's really no one else doing this out there. I don't know why. The universe is a big, vast place, plenty of room for everyone to play. But how come there's no one doing astronomy, free astronomy to people like this? Oh yes, there's people doing, you know, streams of their telescopes and stuff. But my purpose is to give you pictures, number one. Number two, give you astronomical understanding. And I don't see anyone doing that. I don't know. I just don't know about that, but it is what it is. I know. I just don't know what that is. I don't know. It just perplexes me. Oh, we're seeing some additional stuff here. We're seeing some stuff out here. So here are the antennae. See, we're starting to see them now. If I do this, I bet you we'll see more. Yeah, look. Here's our antennae. You see that one there? and one there. Look at that. So these galaxies have passed right through each other and torn each other apart. And guess what? There is no detrimental effects on any living creatures in this galaxy, these paragalaxies, because it happens in such slow motion that there's plenty of time for them to react. You know, American Everyday says, "This is the best astronomy channel. I'm so thankful to found you finally." That is so cool. Now, I'm going to take a poll, and I'll set up a poll. I want to find out if you would feel that it would benefit you to have a specific night of the week that I do this. Because sometimes I'll stream 3 days in a row. Sometimes I won't be able to stream at all because of the weather. And I've been strictly following the weather. So if we said every Friday night or every Thursday night that we did a stream, that would mean we wouldn't stream Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, etc. But if that Thursday rolled around, or whatever day we picked rolled around, and it wasn't clear, then I would have to have some other thing to do during that stream. So I'm not sure whether that would be beneficial. I think maybe it would be more regular, okay? But I would really like to know what your thoughts are and what you think. Mark, you always let us look at a different way to the... you always let us look at a different way to the universe. Thank you for that. Of course, man. I think that's great. It keeps us awake for more. That's cool. Yeah, and Fantasy, of course, says what I believe, and that is it's better to do the streams when we don't have moonlight in the way. That's true. Moonlight is the bane of an astronomer's existence, folks. Exactly so. Well, antennae are looking good. Oh yeah, look at the arc coming out there. The arc going out there. Wow. That's really neat. Would you mind teaching on nights when it's cloudy? No, I mean, I've got 20 or so different presentations I can do for you, but it's not going to be as exciting as a live observatory, you know. But I would want to do something that you guys felt was worth it, you know. That's all. Right now I only have 15 here, but if I do this, okay, we can still see a subtle arms here for the antennae, but I'm pushing it here so we can see the arms right there of the antennae, right there around the corner and down in here, and out there and down here. And there's models that actually show this. When you actually look at the models, you can watch the stars moving, you know, through the galaxies, and you actually watch and see how the motion is affecting the outcome. And those models predict pretty much what we see. So we know what the future genesis of this will look like. We know because we have predicted. We know the mass, we know this number of stars. We can predict and do a gravitational model to kind of indicate what the gravitational force is going to do to the stars in there, and the mutual gravity is going to do. And it's solving a problem called an N-body problem. N is in November. N-body problem, which is a great TV show too, by the way, if you recall, sci-fi. Neat. Wow. This is going to be our last object tonight. Now we've got 17 frames. We'll go a little more. And Earth Radio, it says, on the unclear nights, have the training on some of the objects you looked at or you're going to look at. That's actually not a bad idea, Ronald. We can actually, do a deep dive on, galaxy structure. I could talk to you guys about spiral arms and how we actually think they may form. It's actually really cool. I'll give you a little hint. When you see a galaxy with spiral arms in it, you think that maybe all the stars in those arms are going around with the galaxy because it's rotating. We've gone around our galaxy about 19 and a half times since we were formed, 4.6 billion years ago. Well, when you have that happening, okay, one of the things to keep in mind is that the galaxy has been here for billions of years. So that means that you would think maybe that those spiral arms in our galaxy would have wound up already, right? In fact, that's not true. They haven't. In fact, they are rotating, but they're rotating much slower than we thought they should. And in fact, it's not exactly true, but it approaches more of the rotation of like a rigid disc, okay, which is kind of interesting. So that prospect, that particular finding was perplexing. And in fact, to explain the rotation of galaxies, we've had to invent something. I call it a fudge factor. I don't know what it really is, but it may be this, and that's called dark matter. Right? Dark matter is a halo of material that we cannot detect, which is helping the galaxy rotate. But there's something about galaxy rotation that you don't know, I don't think, unless you heard me say it before. When you have the spiral arms in the galaxy, again, you tend to think that maybe all the stars are rotating with the spiral arms. Here's the weird thing. That's not what's happening. The stars are moving independently around the galaxy, and they're moving at a speed different than the spiral arms. In fact, they move into the spiral arms and out of the spiral arms and continue. So, what are the spiral arms? The spiral arms are something that has been given a name, and one of the ideas is that they're density waves. Wait, Mark, what the heck is a density wave? Okay, you all know what a density wave is. Every one of you has probably experienced it in your life if you ever commuted into a city on a busy day. A density wave is the traffic jam. And what you notice is that as you get into the traffic jam, you slow down. And then you end up coming out of the traffic jam and going faster. Well, you entered a density pocket, right? A density wave, and then you left it. But the density wave was still there, right? There's still a traffic jam, but the cars entering it and leaving it are always different. See what I mean? Think that through. The density wave is a pocket of congestion, okay? As a car enters it, it goes slower, right? But then it speeds up as it leaves. Every other car is doing the same thing, but the traffic jam is still there, okay? So it doesn't go away, at least not right away. So that's a spiral arm. It is a density wave. It is a congestion in the galaxy that is moving slower than the stars moving through it. But because of the concentration of gravity in those spiral arms and large new stars formation, they're slowed down a little bit in this congestion. They kind of get attracted to each other and they move a little in their paths. And instead of going in a straight line, they go kind of on a little lazy line. They kind of make a lazy motion through the spiral arms. And so they don't any longer go the shortest distance between 2 points, which is a straight line. Okay, so they come in like this, they're coming in, moving quite a clip, but then they start slowing down as they go in a curvy path, then they go fast again on the way out. That is where the congestion lies, and it doesn't change. There's always congestion, and so the stars move through the spiral arms, and so the spiral arms are a density wave in these galaxies. So a traffic jam, remember that, traffic jam is a spiral arm. And if you say that to someone, they might say, what in the heck you talking about, boy? And you can say, well, look, it's like And then you say when the star comes in straight, it hits all the traffic with all the other gravitational forces it's feeling, and it slows down and starts to go in a curvy path for a little while before it goes straight again. And that's the density wave, because when it goes in a curvy path, it's no longer going the same relative speed that it might be if it was going straight through. So if you have something coming straight through and you go on a curvy path, you're going to slow down, and then you'll get out, but you'll be going back to your same speed again maybe, but you're going to be stopped by the additional gravitational forces in that spiral arm. So that's kind of density wave theory, All right, so we got 27 here. Let's see if we can do this. Oh yeah, look at that. Our antennae are showing. Look at that. That is nice. Amazing. This is the first time I've taken an image of the antenna galaxies with this telescope. It's not disappointing. Wow. So Ronald says, when I watch the long train, the engine end is going about 45. The other end gets to me. It appears the cars are going slow or slower, and I know when the end of the train is near. Well, they technically all go in the same speed, but there is lag along a long train. There is lag of some kind, but eventually it's going to go all the same speed because it doesn't stretch. If it stretched, then yes, it would go slower. Amazing. We're definitely looking at a very tumultuous location in the universe. Now, let's say these little antennae we're seeing out here, those are stars ripped out of these galaxies. These are star clouds. So what if you're on a star here? Okay, and you have planets. You'll see this in your sky, but it might be a faint fuzzy patch, kind of like our Milky Way is to us. Maybe small, maybe like the Magellanic Clouds are to us. So that's kind of how that would look. And you wouldn't know any different. You would still be surviving just fine, totally oblivious to the fact that you were ripped asunder from your galaxy and thrown out of your galaxy. So these stars in this star cloud may never rejoin a galaxy again. So they'll just be out there floating in the universe. And that's a possibility. That's cool. 31 images. All right. Neat, guys. Now, for the people that are new here, when we close up, I'll close up while you're still here so you can watch the whole process and see what we do and see how that works. It's really cool. Destry Cannon, how are you? I see it says that looks awesome. He says he, she, or whoever. I'm not sure if you're male or female. You gotta pardon me, guys, when you have these names. I don't know if you're male or female. It doesn't matter, but please don't hold it against me if I get it wrong. I know Ronald is not female. All right. Okay, we're at 33. I'm gonna save it now. And save it exactly as seen. And that's it. Once again, you have wasted another beautiful night looking at stars with the crazy astronomer that I am. I appreciate your attendance. I appreciate you coming out. If you have any questions, there's the email at the bottom, contactskytour@gmail.com. Send me a message. I will respond. This is your stream. And, I give people the chance to ask questions. I give people the chance to get imagery and ask questions about science of astronomy. And I will help you. I will answer you. As I said, I taught a class in Virginia today at 9:30 this morning. You know, it's hard, or actually 9. It's hard for an astronomer to get up at 9 a.m., you know, just so you know. So they were very, very appreciative. So it's cool. I hope you guys have a good night. And I will close down this guy right now. We're at 35. That's a perfect number. All right. And now what we'll do is we'll start the close up process. And again, the antennae will be available on the skytourlive.org right there. All right. Now what we're going to do is we are now going to we're going to park our telescope. We're going to make the parking process is what we do to get ready to close down. All right. And the parking process puts our telescope in a certain configuration. All right, and now you'll see that because we're going to do that now. Okay, and oh yes, I guess I should get rid of this. And we'll stop that. Okay, the telescope is spinning around, going into its park mode. Okay, there you can see the that right there is our filter wheel. That's our camera. There's a what's called an off-axis guider in here. Okay, the light's going to get extinguished as the telescope barrel cuts in front of it. Yeah, and the telescope is coming down below the level of the roof. That's our Starlink for our internet. And there we go. So now we are done with that, and so what we'll do is we'll disconnect this. We're disconnecting our telescope, and now I have this program I wrote, this little guy over here. And this program is one that I wrote to actually control a lot of the little housekeeping functions inside the building. And so right now we're going to turn off the power. Okay, it's that simple. That little beep shows the power is now off. And now I can close the roof, and you'll watch it happen right now. And you can hear it. And there it goes. Yeah, it's close, but it's within the tolerances that I specified, so we're good. Okay. And there we are. And now, if we move that camera around, you can actually see the area. Let me just go up in the sky for you to show you a little bit more. Okay, and we'll just it'll average out here in a moment. So you see a bunch of stars out there. So we got plenty of stars. It's a really, really beautiful location, and it's very dark, you know. So I'm gonna put this back here. Okay, and put this back here. So we're all set and closed up for the night. So I want to thank you guys for coming out. I enjoy doing this for you like no tomorrow. I'm really enjoying it. And I will talk to you on the next stream. I usually go kind of every other day if I can. And that'll be the nature of what we do. If you want to know anything or ask questions, again, contact skytour@gmail.com. If you want the pictures, skytourlive.org. All right, guys. So I hope you have a good night. And thank you guys for coming out and checking us out tonight. And to all you new folks that have joined us, join the free Patreon while you're here. You might as well. It doesn't cost you anything. And that way you'll have an upgrade path, and you get some swag to upgrade to a paid Patreon if you do. All right. So let me know what you think, and we will be back soon. And you have a good evening. So see you all later, and good night.
Stars so bright in the sky, on Arizona nights they fly. Nebulae in colors rare, galaxies beyond compare.
stories of the cosmos told through the lens, a distant dream, living real like a gleam. Far away, up so high, across the stars beyond the skull. Through the lens, a distant dream, living real like a gleam. Lift your eye up so high, across the stars beyond the sky. Sky tour shows us the way, every night a new display. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky tours bringing the views, every night feels brand new. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky tours bringing